Yes, we're good.
All right, thank you. I'll call the meeting of the Falmouth Public School Committee to order for August 18th. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. All right, Melissa, can you give our mission vision for us, please?
Sure. The Falmouth Public Schools mission. The Falmouth Public Schools create world-class student learning experiences. Our Clippers are empowered to pursue their goals with curiosity, integrity, and resiliency. The Falmouth Public Schools vision. Clippers are creative, inquisitive, and engaged learners who participate in their community as socially responsible citizens. Clippers effectively communicate and solve problems that impact the world around them.
Thank you so much. This meeting of the Falmouth Public School Committee is being recorded in accordance with Massachusetts Open Media Law. Anyone who wishes to make an audio or video recording must first notify the chair. Is there anyone recording? Okay, thank you. And next up is public comment. Public comment's limited to 20 minutes, and members of the public are welcome to speak during public comment, limited to 2 minutes in length. And due to the open meeting law, the committee cannot respond or act on public comment. I don't have the sheet. Do you guys happen to want to say anything? Okay, moving right along. Next up is the update from the superintendent.
Thank you. First, summer projects. We have the Teaticket playground that we're excited. It's beautiful. Thank you to the committee. That was awesome. Yeah, round of applause. And we're having ribbon cutting on September 3rd. So yeah, thank you for that. That'll be really special. But it's a beautiful design. And,
Did you put on the slide yet?
well, no. Sorry.
I did.
I didn't do that.
It's fast.
It is fast and it is high.
Excuse me.
Yeah, well, do you know the time on the ribbon cutting?
Oh, 10 o'clock.
Okay. 10. Thank you.
Thank you. Mullen Hall's playground renovations will occur this fall. We do not need to close down the playground. They'll cordon off sections that they're working on, but the playground will still be open in other sections while they do it, because it's a renovation. It's not a full new playground development. Solar panels, North Falmouth Elementary is complete. Falmouth High School will be completed in mid-September. Both connections will occur this fall, so the actual connections to the solar, to the energy. And then Project Adventure, we talked about before, really happened before the summer actually started, which was great, but still, it was on our summer list. Opening a school. Today we had new educator orientation. Liz had her first day. It became real today. It's all happening. She did great. We did lots of introductions. Margaret was there to represent the school committee. Thank you, Margaret. So right now we have 10 new classroom teachers and 1 in the process of onboarding. We have 3 new administrators, Director of Teaching and Learning, the Athletic Director, and the PE Health Department Head. And then we have 15 additional new staff. We also have still a few openings. We have a nurse, a TA, one-to-one, a couple of food service workers, and the Director of Guidance. But I'll have a complete list in September, as I usually do, of all the names. Convocation next Tuesday, the 25th at 8 o'clock. The school committee is invited to attend. We're excited. Sell Falmouth is our theme, and we're all getting ready and looking forward to that. August 31st, first day for students. Pre-K and K are on a different schedule, but grade 1 through 22 is on August 31st, Monday. Now, I just wanted to remind everyone, this is before Labor Day. This is very unusual for Falmouth. We had worked with FEA in agreement, and this is a 1-year agreement. So if you look at next year's calendar, the 27-28 school year, it is also late. The first day of school is September 7th, which is late. But we said that we were going to do it one time to see if we like it first, so we couldn't have it next year. So after this year and next year, we can assess from our families, staff, students, and see if we like, only when Labor Day is late would we go before. And that's how a few other districts do it. So if it's a late Labor Day, go before, but if it's an early Labor Day, you go after. I'm not saying that's the way it's going to be. I really defer to families and our staff more on that piece of it. But this year, one time only. Next year, it's going to be a late Labor Day. We're just going to go after Labor Day, and then we'll assess at that point and make some decisions. But it's definitely not a permanent move. I just wanted to let everyone know.
No, I appreciate that.
If everything goes fine this year, will we have the opportunity possibly to amend the 27-year start?
We could. I like to do them 2 years in advance because families plan, and it's now up there, and I don't know if families plan for that weekend or not, if that makes a difference. I was thinking we would just wait and then go forward, but I mean, certainly I'll defer to the school committee, and then I'll take it to our Falmouth Educators Association, and I can discuss that with them. But this was the plan for right now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. The Green School Works project, the drilling grant was confirmed for drilling 2 test wells, both on Teaticket ground and East Falmouth ground. Potentially, they may pay for 2 test wells on each site, but right now, 1 test well on each site. That's mid-September. We will send a communication to the Teaticket and East Falmouth families in early September. This will happen in mid-September, and then it'll be October before we get results back to submit. MSBA, exciting. We are officially added to the August board meeting. They certified that we have completed everything in phase 1. If the board approves us to move into the next phase, it'll be moving into the feasibility study, which begins with the hiring of the OPM architect and engineer. We will get more, once you get into the next phase and they kind of give you more information about how they see things happening, they really do provide a lot of guidance, which is very comforting and nice. It's a partnership. So we'll learn more after that, but I'll let you know after the board meets and if we get approved to move to the next phase. The Lawrence School Building Committee is slated to meet next on September 14th. So it's all timely. The PROTECT Act, that's the immigration enforcement in schools, was signed into law on August 5th. The implementation timeline is the beginning of school opening, but we're waiting on the DESE regulations, which we do not have yet. So I think we're in really good shape. We have our letter that we had sent last year that was based on the Office of the Attorney General's office, a letter of January 2025. We have updated it to include the governor's guidance of May of 2026. The governor's letter guidance actually codifies what the law, what the law codifies, so it's very similar. I don't imagine that the implementation or the regulations will be a lot different, but I still want to do a cross-reference before we send our letter. So we have updated the letter. Really, we had most things in place. It was stating that the immigration is no longer on, or is not allowed on school grounds, so it's different than just a school building and school grounds, and then we strengthened some of the letter as well as we did it, but I think we're ready to go, just a cross-reference.
What is the PROTECT Act?
Can you just say what that's?
So the new PROTECT Act stated that certain public locations are off limits to immigration.
Okay. And that's a
enforcement. Statewide,
Okay.
yes, so schools being one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for asking that. I should have clarified that. MASC Leads Act, previously known as the Educator Diversity Act. We are waiting on DESE's final guidance on that. As it stands now, the district diversity plans are required to be completed by February 2027. I feel like we are well positioned with all the focus and the work we've done over the last several years. We're in really good shape for being able to submit something. So whenever we receive guidance on that. So those were 2 big recent updates. worked on. And so that's it. Do we have questions?
Let's start with her. Okay. Any questions on any of that?
Did you say, and I just missed it, when the MSBA board is meeting, or is there not?
I did not say, but it is next Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Sorry, next Wednesday, the 26th.
Any other questions on any of this? I had one. Is it the MSBA, is it in, at what point, I know you've told me this, I just don't remember. At what point do we find out the reimbursement amount in the MSBA?
After the
After.
after, somewhere around.
At the end of the feasibility?
Feasibility study.
Okay, thank you, I just couldn't remember. Oh, sorry, Mike.
I have a question through you, maybe to Paul. Gotta get you involved early today. The Green Works project, we had discussed to be one building, but they're gonna perk test or well test both. Is there any chance that we would get, and I've asked it before, but both buildings in that program?
Not under this year, because
Okay,
they only granted us one school for this year. If they have an application next year, we would have the potential to apply again.
then the well test would be
It
good.
would be fun, yeah, I
Oh,
think,
good.
yeah. It would,
Thank you.
that would be.
Okay, and it didn't get cut out of the governor's budget yet, right? All right, so it might actually be in there.
It still might be.
Okay, any last things? All right, next up, update on North Falmouth Truss.
All right. Let me just start, if I can, just give you an overview of the project, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So essentially, we're reinforcing all the wooden trusses in the, on the kindergarten through the second grade wing of the building. The class, I'm going to call that the classroom side of the building. It was built in 1963. And in the administrative wing of the building. I'm going to put that aside for the moment. So the administrative wing is principal's office, conference room, staff room, nurse's room, etc. So the project is going exceptionally well. A ton of work has been accomplished over this short period of time, and this is a short summer. So when you think about summer dates, keep in mind that these capital projects also have to occur in these calendar periods, which are, this summer is a week shorter, so it's a crunch to get this done. So all of the classrooms have been reinforced. For room 40, as you're well aware, we put in the new trusses for room 40. That's where the heavy damage has occurred. And so we should be done with all of the structural work before school opening. So the school will be able to open on time on August 31st for children to arrive. The one remaining issues in 2 classrooms will need to be done is HVAC and electrical work in classroom 39 and 40. So they will not be immediately occupied just because they won't have electricity and HVAC system ventilation won't be into those rooms. Those will be done by September 11th, most likely sooner than that, but that's the last of the promise date that they had occurred. So those 2 classrooms for about 8 days of school won't be in use, but there is no classroom that will be disrupted. So essentially, we're using the music room as a classroom now, and the other is a special education teacher's workroom that is currently in a classroom that will become an actual classroom. So there will be no disruption to students during that short period of time, at 8 days. So that will take care of the classroom side of the building. And I just want to say, just to describe again the process, each of the wooden trusses in the classroom wing, putting aside room 40, have been wrapped in steel. So essentially, steel trusses have been built around the existing wooden trusses and will carry all the weight of the ceiling going forward. This is a permanent and I can't emphasize, a permanent solution, long term, as long as that building exists, these steel trusses are there and be able to carry the weight. This is not a temporary solution, it is a permanent, long-time solution, and it's a stronger solution than what existed prior to this. Then again, in room 40, there are brand new trusses that were manufactured off-site up in a shop up in New Hampshire and then shipped down here. The roof was cut open, the trusses were put back in place, and then the roof has been covered back up. And on that, Capeway, which was the roofing company that did our roof before, is extending the warranty for that new roof. So we have no risk if that leak were to occur. They're covering it under the original warranty. So that's good news. And so one of the big benefits of this as well is that there is a substantial amount of work that went into this beyond just the reinforcement of trusses. So the wiring in that section of the building had to be redone. So it's brand new wiring that's been in there. Substantial amount of plumbing, in particular plumbing that branches off from the main lines into the classrooms or the small bathrooms. That had to be redone, so you have a substantial amount of new plumbing. New HVAC components had to be put in place.
In 38 and 40, or is that all? Is that just in those two rooms in 38 and 40?
No, I'm talking about
The
the
whole thing,
entire
okay.
wing of that building. So, I mean, the whole building, that whole section of the building has been upgraded, and not just the trusses. I can't tell you how much work that's gone into this. So the HVAC air filtration system will be brand new in that whole wing of the building. And then you'll have new ceilings in all of this classrooms. So that's what is part of the side benefit of this project. The administrative wing will be reinforcing it with lolly columns. It's slightly different from what we talked about, particularly with Nick and Janie when they were on site. But we're doing lolly columns throughout that wing of the building. We're still waiting on the final plan on that. That should be here by Thursday or Friday of this week. And then the work, the permanent work, that wing of the building will be done next summer. And I have to say, if you were to ask me why can't this be done now, or why can't it be done during the year, this section has a substantial amount of piping, sprinklers, HVAC equipment, wires that are going into this section and through those wooden trusses. And so this is far more complex in trying to get access to the trusses than it is on the other side of where the classrooms are. It's just more equipment that's condensed in that area. So really to be able to tackle that, they need an extended period of time to do that. So next summer is when we plan on addressing those wooden trusses. Now those wooden trusses don't have anywhere near the damage you all saw in room 40. So they were damaged by the snow, but it's not anywhere where the damage was in room 40. So there's less of a concern there. There's also intermediate CMU walls that support these trusses as well throughout that side of the building. So again, that will be done next winter. In terms of just to confirm to everybody, the insurance company, Maya, is picking up the entire cost of both the classrooms and the administrative wing of the building.
And all that HVAC and all this.
All of it. All of it. So our cost, net of that, is $10,000 deductible for this. And just to give and this is an email that was sent in today, but from Surfzone Engineering has issued a report linking the snow load that occurred during the 2026 winter to the damage of the administrative wing of the North Falmouth Elementary School. The damage to the school's administrative caused by the snow load is covered under the town's property. So again, to emphasize, it was the snow load that caused this damage. It was the snow load that now the insurance company is reimbursing us on. So, and this is a significant expense. And just to clarify, we are not involved in the payment process. So the contractor is hired directly by the insurer and not by us. And they pay the contractors bills, et cetera. So we don't see that. Our only exposure to it was a $10,000 deductible. Now, in closing, one final note is that we had put a reserve in our budget for 26 for about $190,000 after the deductible for incidental coverage. That purchase order is still encumbered. Some of that we may use for furniture, equipment, or something related to this, but the other option is to return it back to the town and cancel the PO, in which case it would become free cash for the town. So we're waiting to see what we can do if there's any incidental charges at this point that occur. But I just want to summarize, this has been a huge effort. They have been working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. They have an incredibly skilled crew that is working on this project. And you have everyone from the welders and the fabricators who put up the spans. You have overseeing them has been Restore Now, the general contractor, who on board as project managers. They have certified welders that oversee the project. On top of that, you have Surfzone Engineering, who inspects all of the welding and all of the hardware, as well as compliance with all of the architectural drawings, or engineering drawings. And then on top of that, we hired as a school district, Briggs Engineering, to review all of the welding. And in addition to that, we did magnetic testing and reviewing all of the welding. They found 0 issues with welding, 0. And then they went back in magnetic testing on 10% of those, roughly 800 welds. They found 0 issues. We were willing to go up to 20% testing. They said, don't, you're just wasting money. So we cut it at 10. We are well above anything that's required for inspection. And those inspectors report to us, and they're certified level 2 welding inspectors. So I just want to be clear, there's a number of layers here that have been overseeing this project from a technical standpoint, between contractor, the structural engineer, and our own engineering firm that we hired to do this work. All right?
Paul, can I just ask one quick question? So have some of those engineers or inspectors or anyone signed off on the lolly columns that are gonna be in place until next summer, like they feel good that this is all that's needed?
Along with the design, we'll get a letter similar to what we got before from Surfzone Engineering, talking about the strength of the lolly columns and the solution as a temporary basis, yes. So there won't be an issue.
Nick and Janie had the chance to be on site as our building people. Did you guys want to add anything?
I just wanted to say, as someone who's been involved in a lot of these projects, and I was just really, really impressed with the the organization of the whole project, every area that we went into, you could visibly see people in charge, and it was extremely clean, it was very well run. I didn't see anybody idle the entire time we were there, which is pretty impressive, especially because there are so many different companies, so to speak, that were there. All the safeguards were visible, and, and unfortunately, like having a building that was failing as a principal, I used to walk around nervous about things were breaking, so I kind of looked with, trying to find something, just for safety, and I just was really impressed. And then to hear when an insurance company takes that kind of level of responsibility, you know that they've done their due diligence because they actively look not to have to pay. And so I think that really speaks volumes, and they're not gonna, I didn't feel that, that they would miss anything. With the different layers of the safeguards, I think is impressive. But I also want to give a shout out to Principal Vieira and her summer staff working there, because it is a little disruptive, right, having all these different, this active work zone going on. So it was very impressive how when we saw students, like just, staff around, like how they handled everything. I thought it was, I left feeling very relieved, quite honestly, so.
Yeah,
it was 8 days ago that we were there, and it was super impressive on multiple levels. In one aspect, just the number of people they had on site working on it. I think when we walked in the parking lot, there were like 6 people welding at the same time. And my understanding is there were up to 20 plus at various times, doing this. The work that they put into the ceiling, I mean, that ceiling is probably the safest roof in Falmouth. Like, no joke.
No,
Like, the existing one lasted for 60-something years, and it took a major blizzard for it to be a problem. That's all up there still, and now you've just gone and probably made that roof 5-10 times stronger than it was before. So, I have zero concerns that the structural work that's been done up there is gonna get the job done. So
really
it was,
glad we went.
and it was very impressive, the organization, everything about it just was like, wow, this is the type of construction project, you like to see. So I have no concerns that's, like, they fixed the roof.
Mike, and then.
I have a clarification and a question. The administration roof is summer, not winter, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. You'd said winter one time, it confused me. But
Sorry.
summer of next year.
Summer next year for the trusses and the administrative wing.
All right, I want to echo what Kelly had said about some kind of an engineering report for the administration. And I would like to see if we could, engineering reports from the entire building. But I have one more question, if I could. The administration with the lolly columns, is there an avenue to remove the snow this winter? Have we thought about that?
Yeah, no,
We talked about that.
Yep, exactly. We can, if we get any accumulation on that section, we'll definitely, in fact, most of the building, we'll just clear it out.
Okay. So we have that, and then if we get reports and you three said everything looks good, and you're confident that everything's good with the deals and whatnot. Thank you so much.
Nice. Glenda, did you have some? And then,
So will the permit for the whole project be open until next summer when all of the work is complete? Or is it like closed in phases, or can you explain that?
Well, it'd be this phase under the permit now with the reinforcement of the temporary reinforcement, and then it's most likely a second, but it could be under the same, it's really, doesn't matter. I'm not sure what the consequences of closing one and opening the other.
Oh, so, I'm a lay person, but so like the inspection or the certification of the project, the permit doesn't have to, occupancy, does that have to be closed out?
Yeah, no, the building has been undergoing inspection all through this time, including by the building inspector at Falmouth. The building commissioner has been on site weekly. And so by the end of this stage of it, we'll have, obviously issued a report to set, not the report, but this should be okay for the classrooms to be reoccupied and so on. I'm not sure if they close that permit and then open up a new one for the work for the next fall, if it just falls as a continuing permit. But
We can
this-
find that out that way.
Yeah,
And can, just as a school committee, can we just be notified, like, this is the documentation that has certified that the building is safe for
yeah.
students?
Yeah.
And just one last thing. So Jane, you said that people were in the, I guess I just had the misimpression, obviously, that it's not suitable for occupancy, but people can be in parts of the building and,
Just can't be in the work zone.
oh, okay, so it's not occupancy for the entire building, it's just the part that the work is going
Right.
on.
It's no-
And so when we went into the work zone, we had to put hard hats on.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that's
just
just
take pictures.
Yeah, it was cute. Nick looked better than I did, I have to say that.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to extend gratitude to Lori and Paul for getting this done and coordinated in 7 weeks. This is unheard of, and you really avoided a major disruption for the students in North Falmouth that could have been really, really bad. And we'll have a first-class job, and we'll also have it paid for, and that is, I've never heard of it in Falmouth.
Well, especially Cape Cod in the summer.
Yeah.
The extended workday, like, I don't want people to feel that they rushed through it,
No,
but it was really.
it was a very
two things.
coordinated
Well, it
job.
was three things. It was the organization, it was the extended workday, and it was the multiple crews. And that's really how they were able to get it done. So basically, they put an all-call out to anybody who could work the off hours, and that's how, in the different companies, and that's how they got people here.
Yeah,
So that really was the difference. And I think the other takeaway for me, I don't know about you, Nick, but I just feel like we have so much information to go to the phase 2 of the project next summer. So I feel that, I can't even imagine what the surprises could be for us in terms of what work might need to be done. And that's really important in terms of not just financial planning, but just planning period. So I feel like we are very well informed customers for next summer, so.
thank you.
Did you have anything?
Yeah, I'm grateful to all of your research and hard work and everything that you've had to do in between doing your research and hard work, I'm grateful for. I am grateful for the knowledge to you and Lori of getting all the appropriate people in and making sure that the contractors and the insurance companies had all of the information that they needed to make the best possible outcome decision that could have. I'm sorry that it happened, but if it had to happen, I think that this was more than best case scenario. And I think that Sue said it best with, insurance, or was it Janie, insurance companies that don't usually want to pay are paying
Yeah.
and presumably not really giving us too much of a hard time. So I'm grateful that our kids are safe. I'm grateful that our building is, not for nothing, I'd say I'd let the snow sit there this winter. I'd like to see it go. I'd like to see how it goes. If they're steel wrapped trusses, there should be no trouble. So I agree. But anyway.
Margaret?
Can I just,
Oh, sorry.
just say
One second.
one comment? I want to give a shout out to Kevin Clemento, who's
Yes.
our district
Yes.
project
Oh,
manager.
yeah.
Kevin has been on site 7 days a week with this crew. It's been ears to the ground, working with all the different subcontractors, bringing in our vendors who work on fire alarms, et cetera. Has been working with them and coordinating that. He's done an absolutely terrific job and indispensable in that role. So
Please express our gratitude.
Yes,
to
please.
them.
Yeah, for sure. Margaret?
Just a simple question. When the building's done, will the music room be back, will they move back into room 40?
Right, they'll move into another classroom, which will be, the class that was in room 40 will move into their room. So I think,
I know, but when
Music
the work's
room.
done, when the work's done, will they move back into 40?
yeah, so the classroom that's in room 40 is moving to the music classroom, which is, I think, 78.
Yeah.
That classroom goes back to room 40, the music room goes back
The
into
music, that was my
78. or
question.
whatever.
Minor
So
question.
where is music going now?
It will be on the stage.
The other question was that there were stresses that were built outside, are they also steel? Are they all
Oh,
steel?
they're all steel.
Okay,
Yeah.
just that's 2 questions, that's all, thank you.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure I understood perfectly, because I got confused somewhere along the line this summer. The trusses in room 38 and 40 were manufactured off-site,
No,
and
it's-
all the rest of it was mounted on-site?
The trusses in room 40 were manufactured off-site. All of the other trusses were welded on-site and then assembled onto the roof.
And the expectation at the beginning was just that room 40 would be
Just room
off-site,
40 would need new trusses in that room.
from an off-site,
Yeah, exactly,
and everything else was expected to be welded on-site.
yes.
All right, thank you, Paul. Moving on, next up is the year-end budget.
Yep, I'm just gonna turn it over to Paul. This is the end of the last fiscal year.
Does anybody need a photocopy?
We have, they all
Think we're
have.
good?
All right, so this is just the end of the year, the 12 months of fiscal year '26. Just to take you back a little bit, when we do budgets, like for example, we start to work now on the budget for '28. So here we are in '26, December of '26, working on the budget for '28. And this budget here for '26 was done starting in the fall of '24. All right, just so when you start to formulate these budgets, you're doing it well before a lot of decisions are made, particularly about enrollment and pre-kindergarten enrollment, kindergarten enrollment, and so on. So just to take you down to the bottom line, on the far right-hand column, so our total expenditures was $61,424,651. And if you look over the far left, the budget was $61,424,654. So we were at $3. We left on the table.
You could at least go there.
I know, could have bought some stamps or something.
Now, just to emphasize what I did say, that we did encumber in this budget, so in these expenses, $190,000 for the North Falmouth roof. If we free that money up, if it turns out we don't need it, that becomes free cash. So we will, but we worry that the,
Paul, where was that? What line?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
it's under district-wide non-salaries is within that, you see that 260,000 encumbered?
Oh, okay.
It's 190,000 of that was related to North Falmouth that we encumbered.
The furniture and whatnot you spoke of earlier.
Yeah, we actually encumbered it for Restore Now in case we had to pay any incidentals. It turns out that right now we don't. The other encumbrances in that line, just by the way, is tuition salaries, tuition for out-of-district tuitions that had yet to receive the bill of the invoice by the time the year closed on June 30th. So let me talk about a couple major items, just I think are worth mentioning. So at the beginning of the year, when we did the budget, we estimated that both out-of-district tuitions and out-of-district transportation, those were the two most variable costs in our budget. We estimated that the total cost would be 4,061,000. It's not on these figures because I'm just, because it's across the budget in grants. But we've talked about a lot about out-of-district tuition and the estimates that we work and the work that Sandy and her team and my team do in following this every single month, making sure we have good projections. So out-of-district tuitions and out-of-district transportation, we estimated before the year began to be 4,061,000. We came in at 4,113,000. So in that world, we nailed it. I think we've been paying a lot of attention to these numbers and how they vary and making good predictions on it. So to get that close on a really volatile component is, I'm really proud of the team.
Can you say those two again?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Is there a paper for that, Paul? That we,
I haven't, but I can just give you the numbers. So we estimated to both out-of-district tuition and out-of-district transportation to total 4,061,000. We came in at 4,113,000. So we came in very close within that range. I think Sandy and her group and my group, we sit down monthly and we go through everything that's both existing out-of-district tuitions, potential placements going forward, transportation costs, and so on. It's a pretty thorough review. I think we've systemized this and for this year to come that close is pretty good. And just so you know, we have about just over 300,000 in circuit breaker fund we do not use. It can help cushion for any variability for next year. So that's one piece of good news. Another number that I want to highlight is our utility cost. Again, this year we made improvements. We were over about $100,000 in improvements in our cost last year. That was our goal. We were able to save about $88,000 this year. And in particular in electricity use. Our gas was up because of the cold winter and all the storms. So we only saved about $3,000 on the gas, but we saved $69,000 on the electricity. And that electricity is below what we had in the year prior. So it's not just the cost savings versus the budget, it's actual dollar savings, meaning we reduced the level of electricity in the building. This year going forward, as Dr. Dora mentioned earlier, once the solar parking canopies come online for North Falmouth and for the high school, which will be in the mid-fall, then those savings will start to gradually come into the system. So it's another thing to look for. So the one area that was up, and it's going to be a budget item I'm going to bring up this year, Dr. Dora and I have been talking about it, is the maintenance expense. So we spent about in total $400,000 higher than we had budgeted. We've been doing this every year, we've been able to make it up. But we're gonna need to raise our maintenance expense across the board. It's just, the buildings need a lot of work. We do a lot of work in the summer for the buildings that don't get covered by capital projects. We do a lot of boiler work, HVAC work, mechanical work, that happens during the year. And our servicing costs, if we have a boiler servicing agreement, those costs are all rising. So we're gonna have to increase the budget maintenance line. But kind of the rule of thumb for schools is to have maintenance expenditures be around 2.5% of your budget. So we have to sort of notch those numbers up going forward. But those are the major issues. The salary lines are actually quite close. And again, when we start the budgeting process, in fact, when we finalize the budget increase in January, we are still working on final staffing level decisions because they are driven by the student needs and the enrollment that in many cases for preschool and kindergarten, you're not going to know until later in the year. One of the other factors that affects salaries is, in this year in particular, there was about $70,000 in overtime costs, and that's primarily custodial costs. And that was driven mainly by the storms and work need for staff on board, and also building subs. But in all, we were very close to our numbers, especially given when we started this process well before final staffing decisions have been made. So.
Thank you. Start over on this side. Any questions, Mike?
Just one question. Can we get a more broken down budget than this? Just to get a better idea of, like you said, the transportation and the maintenance and whatnot. I had questions about the maintenance. I don't want to really bring them up now, but just a more detailed breakdown of, the budget.
Do you want what Paul was looking at, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, just so we get a better idea of, I look at these numbers, and they all line up at the end, but there's definitely, ups and downs in the different schools, and I understand that, we're looking at the salary line only, the salaries are not consistent in any of the buildings. So just to get a more broken down budget, so we can kind of see, it all adds up in the end, which is great, but, along the way, and we've just discussed before, like, you move, if you save money here, you can move it over there. I get all that, but just to get just more details is all I'm looking for.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think we had talked, I don't know if it was in my agenda group or where it was, about having those updates where Paul does like a deep dive. Remember, we used to do like a deep dive on a topic?
Yeah.
Something like that? Is that what?
So for instance, the maintenance being more, and I don't disagree with, raising that and whatnot, but just to get an idea of what the maintenance budget is, how much we're going over, and get a breakdown of where that's going.
Sure.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
So just a general comment, Paul, I don't know how you're doing all of this. School finance is complicated in and of itself, and then with these building projects. Hope you got a vacation. Did you have a vacation this summer? Honestly, I am very sincere. I don't know how you're doing all of this, so that was just a little aside. I think I missed, it was kind of at the end of your presentation, you said we spent $400,000 more than budgeted. Was that on maintenance?
On maintenance.
So then will the $300,000 that is the excess circuit breaker money go to kind of offset that?
No, this is all within the budget. So there were offsets in other areas of the budget that made up that difference.
Oh, okay. And then my last question is, for the admin building, I think, the last, am I reading this right? That the expenditures were $100,000, $110,000 almost over budgeted? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, and that's, we hired out for HR, for the manager of HR and for payroll as well. So, we brought, and this is more of a technical issue, we brought one person who was on essentially the circuit breaker, charged to the circuit breaker. We brought that person's salary on to the budget. because we'd rather have salaries on the budget than in any other grant or revolving account. So that was more technical move. That allowed for more money to be spent for other district tuition in the circuit breaker.
So for next year's budget, will you be putting the HR and the payroll person
Can I clarify that? We have a HR manager on staff in the budget, additional support for HR. So it's just a contracted position for X amount of days.
So will that
There
be
was
built in the budget for next year, or is it?
Because she's a contractor.
I'm talking about the salary difference between the previous HR person and the current one.
Okay, I just want to make sure that everyone
okay.
understood.
I got
We
it.
have an HR manager
Yeah.
on staff here, yes. And we do contract out for additional support at times through the year as needed.
Okay.
Rather than having extra staff all the time,
Done,
which
yes.
would be much,
So
much
is that a
more expensive.
one-off for the year, or if, so I guess just if it's not gonna be a one-off, just wondering, and you don't have to answer it now, if it would be built into the budget for subsequent years.
Well, the temporary person that Laurie was just referring to is associated with helping us on, well, as an interim before the HR manager was hired. And then has been helping us in the MASC conversion project. That will probably go through January. So yes, we would be part of that. We won't necessarily be building that into 28. I don't think this number overall is going to change for 28 when we come to that budgeting process. So you're going to get salary increases and so on that go on that lost.
Jane?
Just a question for educating me. So is there a time when a budget is presented where the salaries are broken down versus administrative teachers versus ESPs,
Yeah,
supplies, transportation costs?
yeah. We produce in January a full detailed budget book by each cost center. So every school and the admin building and the district-wide cost are all broken down in detail by account for both salaries and non-salaries.
We can get you the budget,
Yeah,
copy
we
of
should
the
get the
budget.
budget.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
And then whatever offsets we have as well.
Offsets
I
and,
mean, whatever, like, school choice money, anything that can help offset the deficit.
that's right. We do,
That's also
when we
in
do the budget, we break down both grants, school choice, circuit breaker estimates, and the budget. And then we break down the budget into fine detail. Literally, there are 1,000 odd accounts that are broken down in the budget book in detail, both salary and
I like
non-salary.
1,000 things.
We'll get you the book.
Thank you.
You'll be thrilled.
I'm sorry, Paul, I know you've worked so hard.
No.
I just had a hard time following, so some detail would be great for my brain, thank you.
Any last, Nick?
Just one question, you mentioned something about the 190,000 encumbered for North Falmouth Elementary, and if you don't use it, it'll become free cash, meaning you're turning it back to the town?
Yeah, so if we encumber the money technically at the end of the year as we did, and we don't use it for that vendor, then we have to return it to the.
So we'll be giving them $190,000 and $190,000. No, I just asked, it's been an issue when the finance committee brought it up before, that the school's never given any free cash back, so I just want to make sure we.
I wouldn't say never, I mean.
It's unusual, relative to the size of the budget, the amount
Yeah.
that the schools turn back is pretty small
Is it compared to other departments?
compared to other departments,
Okay.
yeah. There's a whole bunch of reasons, I'm not saying it's a bad thing,
Yeah.
I'm just saying like,
It is usually 200,000 or less that we give back every year.
it's always nice to be able
We run
to
a
say
tight budget.
you're able to give some back.
Well, and I think part of it has got to be because we have flexibility in our budget to move money around when other departments do not have that
You have much more
flexibility.
flexibility and you have a good idea of what's gonna happen next year, so you can buy supplies in advance and things like that.
Right,
Yeah, there's lots of good reasons for
Yeah.
it, I just
No, but
I
fair.
wanna make sure that, when you said you were gonna turn it back, it was where it was turning back to.
I just think it's more that schools are good at predicting how much they need, and so
That's
that's
where I was
usually
gonna
not a
go.
lot.
Mhm.
Let's give ourselves some credit.
We're very good at predicting what we need.
Well, another
All right,
town
well-
has come with their hat in hand to, we can't meet our expenses, so that's a nice change that doesn't happen here.
Thank you so much, Paul. That's great info.
Thanks.
Next up, we have acting on the field trip for Falmouth High School's AP Literature and Composition.
Yes, I recommend that you approve. This is the AP Art, AP Lit. It's a trip to New York. It is fully funded by FEF, and so we just need approval for them to go out of state on the field
Is there
trip.
a motion?
I'm gonna make that motion.
Second.
Thanks, Mike. Any comments or questions? Mike?
I just have, I'm all for this, but I just had one question, and it might be for Lori. Some of these field trips we actually have to fund, so I understand us voting on it, because that's in our purview. Something like this that's fully funded, and I'm glad to vote on it, but is there a need, what is that need?
So your policy says that if anyone goes out of state,
Oh,
you have to fund, or you have to approve, or overnights.
Thank you very much.
Good question. All right, any discussion? Yeah.
I just wanted to mention, I've been on this trip many times. The children, students get a ton out of this. There's a lot of crossover between art and AP English, and to say that they're getting so much out of it is like, doesn't say enough, because they're getting it from when they get on the bus at 6 o'clock in the morning until they get off the bus at 11 o'clock at night. The entire experience is an experience. So, I don't want to carry on with that, but it's an amazing trip, and if ever anybody is looking for some volunteer time, you should give it a whirl, because it's a lot of fun.
Do they always do, I'm sorry, do they always do a presentation here afterwards, is that?
No, it's usually an art exhibit, a combination
There was a
of
poetry
reception
reading and.
that we are
art I
always
went
invited
on
to.
that. Okay, I didn't get that.
We always get the invite. All in favor of approving the field trip, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, abstentions? That's unanimous, thank you so much. Next up is acting on the MASC delegate for the November conference. So as you have probably seen, the November MASC conference is not at our back door, unfortunately, it's in Danvers. But every year we approve a delegate to represent Falmouth at the district meeting to vote on changes. So I'm hopeful that everybody checked their calendar to see if they're going. Do we know who's going? First of all, let's start from that.
Is this in Danvers, did you say?
It's in Danvers this year, I know. Glenda's going and Margaret is going.
Do you know the date offhand?
November the 4th, I want to say. I can double check.
It's Wednesday to Saturday.
Yeah. Are either one of you interested in being our rep?
I nominate Margaret because she was last year.
I'll second that.
Margaret, do you accept?
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Any other nominations? All in favor of Margaret representing us at MASC, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining?
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you, and can we also ask Glenda, could you be our alternate?
I will be our.
I nominate Glenda to be our alternate.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All unanimous. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. You can fill us in on all things MASC. Next up is acting on the strategic plan contract. It was in your packet. Lori, can I turn this to you, please?
Yes,
Thank you.
so as we presented in our last meeting about the strategic plan, we'd like to move forward with Teaching and Learning Alliance. The contract's at $20,000. I'm happy to answer any questions or remind you of anything that we presented last time, but I would like to recommend that we move forward with the Teaching and Learning Alliance.
And thank you for putting it in there so we can take a look.
So moved.
And thank you. Mike, is there a second?
Sure.
Melissa's got the second. Any discussion or comments about it? All in favor of the strategic plan contract with TLA, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? That's unanimous. Great. Thank you so much. Next up is the contract with school board partners. There had been some requests for some training on Robert's rules. I had a recommendation from Katrina because she's done this training with them, and I met with them They were lovely, they do this training a lot. The thing that I particularly liked is that they tailor the training to your needs and your strengths after they watch some of your meetings. So it's not just a, canned presentation. They will actually watch some of our, we'll send them some good examples. And then they base it on that. So this would be approving a contract for us to do a virtual training with them.
It's virtual?
It is virtual, yes. I'm still working out, I think we're all in the same room, but they are remote. So we can interact better, but I have to clarify that.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there comments or questions on this one?
Do we have a date?
Not yet.
When are you thinking?
I have no idea. I didn't want to even get that far with them until this
I
got
have a
approved,
much
because I didn't know
easier-
what everybody was gonna think.
I have an easier question. It's 2 hours total?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
2-hour training.
And what's the date?
Glenda, were you gonna say something?
That was my question too. I think it would be great if we could have it sooner rather
Yes.
than later, because if we wait too long, then what's the point? So
Great.
I would recommend that we do it sooner.
I think I had originally said to them that maybe on one of our off Tuesdays. I don't know how everybody feels about that, if we have our standing Tuesday meetings and then to do it on an off Tuesday.
Sure. It just depends on when it is.
Okay, all right, so I'll get some dates from them and then hopefully, turn it around quickly and we'll get something scheduled, assuming we all approve it right now. Any last discussion on it?
Why wouldn't we do it on Tuesday? And just keep
Instead
our
of a-
regular meeting short.
I love that type of positivity.
I mean, we are on
Such
schedule right
optimism.
now.
All right, I will keep that in mind, and if I can find a meeting date that is short, but I don't want to wait either, so I will take that under consideration, but I'm not making any promises, because I just don't know.
I mean, short meetings are kind of a rarity,
Yeah.
so.
I'm hoping that we started a new trend.
Well, God bless you, yes.
Okay, all in favor of approving the contract with school board partners, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? It's unanimous. Great, I will get it scheduled
I
and
think we're doing,
let you know.
What's that?
I think we're doing great.
Yeah, we are cruising right along. Okay, so, next up is acting on the pre-K program. Okay, so last year, I felt like this sort of hung over our heads and, we felt as though we were supposed to make a decision that we didn't. And so Lori gave us that presentation at our last meeting about where we're at with pre-K and made the recommendation that we continue to grow in place. And so this has on here acting on the pre-K program, but usually we have a motion like sort of written out. And I didn't put one because we talked about it, but I didn't want to presume where everybody was at. So I will open it up to y'all to tell me what, if any, motion this would be. And then we can talk about it and go from there. But that was the thinking for why it appeared on here, so that it's not just hanging out there, unaddressed. Let's start on this side.
Go ahead, Katrina.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if Lori could do like a 20-second overview of what your recommendation was.
Yeah, so I do think that the Early Learning Center is the gold standard, right? But right now, we have a year to 2 years worth of growth in place. I think it's really important that they stay together, and I think I can do that. I also have the plan that I submitted last year where we could move to 2 sites if that was what you chose to do. So I can split the pre-K, go to 2 sites. We cannot fit it in the budget to go further than 2 sites. Can't go to 3, can't go to 4. But we could go to 2, but I don't think we're gonna have to make that decision. Being at East Falmouth, everyone's together, and I think we're gonna be able to grow 1 to 2 more classrooms, which was our overall plan over each year, is to grow a classroom. And we do have the enrollment to do that. And so I'm good for right now, where it's at, but certainly I defer to the decision of the school committee.
Can I ask, I'm sorry.
Jane had something as well.
I was just gonna, after that, thank you, I was just gonna make a motion to grow in place. Did I do that right? Could you?
I was just gonna ask a follow-up to Lori.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were,
No, just to make sure that if you grow a new classroom this year, does that mean that your wait list goes into that classroom and we don't have kids waiting?
No, we already grew to the other classroom, and then there were still 12 on the waiting list.
Okay.
Yeah, we were unable to pick up 12
That's
kids.
what I thought I remembered.
Yeah, so,
okay,
No problem.
coming back to, Jamie, you made a motion to grow in place.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Mike, do you have a comment on that?
I'll comment on that. I don't know if we need a motion to grow in place, as is just the status quo. I appreciate that, but I don't
That's a good
know
thought.
if we need that going on. And then I had a question for the superintendent. Last time we spoke, I'm okay with this plan, but my only question is, what's the tipping point at East Falmouth? At what point in time do we have, let's say, 15 classrooms of pre-K, and then you have to come back and say, we either have to separate them, or this will be the early childhood learning center organically? Does that make sense?
I would like to give periodic updates on the enrollment, and so that you're fully aware, and if you feel, the need to make a different decision, or have a different recommendation, certainly annually, by the end of this year, when we're looking toward the following year, I'd like but right now, we can probably grow 2 classrooms, is what I'm saying. So if we're doing 1 each year, then that's kind of where I'm at. But it all depends on the K-4 enrollment. So the kindergarten enrollment is very low at East. And so, last year, this year kind of wavered on, is it going to be 1 classroom or 2 classrooms?
For
kindergarten, yes.
Can I ask a follow-up to that? And I like what you said with the enrollment of kindergarten. Would that be a time when we look at redistricting as we move along to, if you have just the 2 kindergarten classrooms or even 1 at East, would then be the time to kind of start carving out redistricting to make that? But
Yes.
as of now, I'm fine with leaving it as it is.
Yes.
But,
Yes,
yeah.
you're absolutely right, yes.
And can I just add to that? I would hope that we would look at school choice placement first, as well.
And,
No, can you speak more, so maybe I can address that?
So for school, are we talking about pre-K? Is that what you were saying?
We're talking about pre-K right now.
Yeah, okay, so, in the district right now, do we have any school choice pre-K?
I can't answer that right off. The only reason why we do offer for our staff that they can send their children to pre-K. I don't know if you know right off I hate to speak off the top of my cup,
Right, it's
but
part of the collective bargaining.
it is. I do believe we have maybe a child or 2 in this
Yeah.
firm, but I don't want to speak to that. But that is the option. That would be the only, school choice into pre-K.
Yeah, we
right
don't
now.
approve school choice seats.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah.
understood.
Margaret?
Okay.
We have a motion on the floor, which we're supposed to act on, so I'm in favor of the motion, and I'd like to get back to the agenda.
And it does say act, so I think
Yeah.
we have to have a motion of some
Well,
sort.
we have a motion.
Right.
Okay, hold on, everybody's talking at the same time. So I wanted to come back to Mike's original question. You're right, we don't have to take this up, but I feel like, and this is my personal opinion, it was hanging out there all year. Families didn't know what we were doing. And after the presentation about the ability to grow in place, it sort of felt like everybody was okay with it for now. So I just would like us to say what we believe to be the right thing for right now, and we can come back in a year or 2 and revisit it, but I would like the community to be able to set it aside. I would like us to be able to set it aside so we can talk about the other stuff, like redistricting and such. So, Nick?
So I believe the motion, could you repeat the motion?
The motion was to grow in place,
Yes.
grow pre-K in place.
Right,
Okay.
not to make it.
I'd like to amend the motion just to make it a little bit more specific,
Sure.
so that it's clear what we're talking about. The
Yes.
amended motion would be, we grow in place at East Falmouth Elementary, and we authorize up to 2 additional classrooms,
Per year.
which is what I think you asked for.
Yes, I'm just trying to divide what is in, I don't know if school committee can vote how many classrooms.
Okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
I would say-
I just want to be
I think it's
sure,
lovely.
I want to make
Think
sure
it's
that
lovely,
we
but-
endorse these,
Yeah,
that
I know.
that we
The first
fully
half.
empowered you to
Yes.
do what you wanted to do, and we're clear about what we're approving.
Yeah.
So we're gonna grow in place at North Falmouth Elementary. East Falmouth.
I make a motion. Correct my wording.
Okay,
That we, your amendment is to add where we're doing this.
Yes.
Is that correct?
yes.
I could add, so I guess my
So
question.
we're not growing in place, we're growing at East Falmouth Elementary, thank you.
So can I just, and I'm not gonna add words to your motion, but just to further clarify what we were doing, this is essentially taking the recommendation or the notion of converting Teaticket into an early learning center and combining those students with East Falmouth off the table.
For this year.
For now, well,
For now, yes.
until, right, I mean, and we're not even saying that we would ever do that
Right.
unless circumstances, you know, you have to revisit the circumstances.
Yeah, so we can.
Yeah, and I think that in my mind, the idea of, directing the superintendent to grow in place with pre-K, when she can no longer do that, then we would have to take it up again.
When it's not feasible.
Right, when it's no longer possible to grow in place.
And perhaps, Dr. Joe, you're much more versed on this than I am, but there are also other models aside from an early learning center that we may want to explore, right? I mean, like vouchers or like what they do in Sandwich. So it's not saying that when we get to the point where we have to do something that this is going to be the solution. There may be other solutions out there.
Sure, I would agree, and as I presented before, the town has taken up the voucher position, a few times. They have not acted on it yet, but I have stayed in constant communication because, we would work together on that.
Okay, so I'm gonna second Nick's clarification. So any discussion on that amendment to clarify the location? Okay, all in favor of the amended language to clarify the location of East Falmouth, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? All right, so that amendment passes. So is there any last thoughts on this? Melissa?
Yeah, so I had high hopes of the Early Childhood Learning Center. I had high hopes of perhaps a place where new families could go and, have it be a one-stop shop for welcome to Falmouth. These are things that our town offers, not just for kids, but for families and adults and all the things. I had high hopes of families who didn't speak English to come in and whether it be through a live translator or through the different translating platforms out there, that people could come and essentially get the same, welcome, what they needed. And I totally understand that now is not the time, and I think it's prudent for us to be financially, fiscally responsible and grow in place and see what our needs are, as opposed to overbuilding and not being able to support it, if that is clear enough. So while I think I can only speak for myself personally, I was excited about the Early Childhood Learning Center and all the possibilities that it could have offered, a baby room, going all the way up to traditional pre-K right before, age 5 kind of thing. I think this is the most responsible thing that we can do. And I think that it's also the best thing that we can do for our families, so that our families aren't wondering, when's the shoe gonna drop? Like, when is the next shoe gonna drop? Can I start my first of 4 kids at Teaticket and know or hope that my, last one is still gonna go there. I don't know, like, so I think that this at least gives, I would hope, some families some peace of mind, knowing that you're still looking, but we're.
No, I share that. I love the idea of the early learning starting too, but I can live with this, so I'll support
I
it.
can live with this.
Sue?
I agree completely with what Melissa has said. I still am concerned and regarding the low class sizes at East Falmouth for the upper grades, as expressed by staff members at the school building needs meetings. And that is a great concern that I have, because as far as I'm concerned, that we're not doing those kids any favors compared to the other schools.
And Margaret?
Do we have a motion on the floor?
Yes.
Okay,
I just spoke for it, Melissa spoke for it, Sue spoke for it.
well, the motion on the floor is that we're going to continue
To grow.
pre-K at East Falmouth.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's what the three of us
Okay, but
supported.
it doesn't have to do anything with the early child center, early learning center.
Well, it does, because it's deciding to do one thing instead of the other.
Can I just ask Sue a clarifying question? So, Sue, could you just explain to me what you're saying? So what you're saying is there a disparity in the numbers across the schools?
Very low, very low. There's at most, there's 2 sections of each grade, with low enrollment in each class. As far as I know, unless things have changed this year, but these were the things that were discussed at the school building needs, and staff members, teachers representing that building as well as some of the therapeutic programs as well expressed those concerns as well.
Is it possible to get that or get those numbers?
Yeah, we
This year?
already have all those numbers.
Not the number of classrooms, but
I can get it updated for this year, I can bring it.
per classroom.
Would this be something to put in the agenda request at the end if we want to talk about redrawing district lines or whatever?
Yep, let's bring it up at the end and see where everybody's at.
Call the question?
Yep, let's do it. There was nothing else, right? Everybody was done? All right, all in favor of the motion as amended to include growing in place at East Falmouth School for pre-K, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? It's unanimous, thank you so much.
Can I'd like to move that we not talk about an early child center for a year until we have more information about it, and sort of table it for a year. I move that we do that.
A second motion to just table the early childhood center.
A conversation until we have more information, so I table it for a year.
That's a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Just a point of clarification, I don't disagree with Margaret's assertion, but I don't think table's the right word. I think it's postpone or,
No, you can table, the table period
okay.
is getting rid of something. I'm saying table it for 1
To
year.
a specific time,
Which
she's
is,
saying.
which is specific,
Postpone to a specific.
Postpone to a specific time.
table it for 1 year.
I just need to know if there's a second, because if there's no, okay, yes, now go, please.
I would imagine that a component of the strategic plan would talk about this. So I don't know that making this motion is really necessary, because, you know,
What if it curtails us from talking about it when we have to? Is that what you're thinking?
well, I mean, let's talk about it after the strategic plan comes back.
I think too, if you think about it, if it's off the table for a year, that is a whole nother school year into it. That if for planning purposes, that we were to move forward, it would hinder us from planning.
Margaret, how about until the end of next school year? So what I'm thinking is like, we're gonna have end of the year data by June. Would that accomplish what you're looking for?
No, the rationale really is that we've been talking about giving clear information to families so that they know. And all I'm saying is that I think it would be hard to have a conversation before we have more information, before we are in a position to really have a conversation about it. And I think a year of planning, of what Dr. Durr suggested for a year, seems to fit in as a next logical step. And all I'm saying is, I think it's helpful to families to know that we're not gonna be carrying on a conversation about this during the next school year, but we're gonna wait until we have more data, and then we're gonna have that conversation when we do.
Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to tie our hands like that. We can decide what's on the agenda, the public can find out about it by reading the agenda, and we definitely don't want to tie the hands of the next school committee, which is within a year, and I do not support this motion.
I couldn't agree more with Nick. While I appreciate giving families peace of mind, I also think that I don't want to bind our conversation, and according to our MSBA, perhaps the August board meeting, including the feasibility study, moving forward, that was discussed that we were going to have discussions surrounding redistricting. I don't want to bind us or bind the next committee.
Can I clarify, just
Yeah,
in case I said something wrong
Sure.
during my update? The MSBA process is just with the Lawrence School.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it doesn't have to do with elementary.
I
or
say
the
that
process.
knowing how that discussion has gone before. Knowing that, well, we want to stay with the Lawrence School, it does impact, the wave that comes out from that impacts the other buildings. So I appreciate it, I really don't want to gag ourselves or tie our hands in any way.
Okay. Any last comments on this motion? All in favor of, can you repeat it?
Was there a second?
Yeah,
I seconded it.
can you repeat it, Margaret?
Yeah, well, when I said a year, I certainly meant an academic year, I didn't mean
Okay, so
12
not,
months. Okay.
so not talking about the
Yeah.
early learning center
Not
for
talking
this
about the
academic year.
Learning center, that we're tabling what, we're following what Dr. Doris said for pre-K at East Falmouth, and that we're not gonna have these conversations without the data that we need to know what we're doing.
That's not the same motion.
Is that the?
Okay, so
Well, that's
I-
my rationale. but the
that's the
motion is
rationale, but it's to not talk about it until the end of the academic.
Until we're ready to have a conversation about it.
That's not what you said.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
No,
Any abstentions?
I'll abstain. There's a reason. I agree with her
I know.
idea, but
You don't have to say.
I was actually gonna-
Most abstentions. He's going for
I
a.
agree
Mike,
with
I'm
the
with you, because
intent.
I was gonna abstain too.
I agree with the intent.
I do too.
But Jane's motion kind of handled it.
Okay, so the motion doesn't carry, and we're gonna move on, because we're actually on track, which is a shocker. So next up is acting on the Community Preservation Committee application. It was in your packet.
Yeah.
Lori?
So we are submitting for 2 playgrounds, one at North Falmouth Elementary, and the other is the preschool playground at the high school. Both are in really poor shape, and I want to get moving on this. We wouldn't be doing the playgrounds until next summer, before we're in the same situation, previously. About, we don't want anyone to come in and shut it down, and it is, it's very close to that, we're worried.
So moved.
Well,
Can I ask a question?
is there a second first, and then there's questions? Melissa's got the second, Glenda, go ahead.
So if there's I don't know how the application is written, but do they get funded separately? Like, okay, we'll fund North Falmouth, but we won't fund the high school, or fund both, or is
They
it
have
just one
All of
sum?
that is in their purview to do whatever, but we have talked with them, and they were perfectly fine with us submitting both as one. So, but just like any board, they could make any motion and do, we submitted as one in one application for the entire amount of $590,000.
And then town meeting could decide that they don't want to do it that way
Right,
anyway.
exactly.
And is there, just like a Teaticket there, which I understand was a different project, but it was a parent or a community fundraising component? Is there also going to be community fundraising one for North Falmouth?
That was a, grassroots effort. Like, we did not start that. So the Teaticket staff and families got together to do that. There is nothing that I know of that is in the works that they're gonna do that.
Mike?
This question is probably going to Paul. What is the schedule? This was sent in August 4th. I know the CPC process, you have to have a meeting. When is that meeting and when is the,
I'm not sure exactly when the meeting, the interview will take place for the, but the final vote has to be in April for this.
yeah,
So, and this is, so, yes, you have to vote and then the town has to vote. So once you vote, then it's on the table, the select board will vote. So it's okay that it happened after we submitted the application, they just need those votes before they'll set the interview for us.
I think I meant when the CPC meeting was.
Yeah. We gotta have both votes before they'll set our interview meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess we better hang on to that couple $100,000 and $3.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
And Paul's never gonna get a summer
Yes,
vacation.
for that.
Katrina?
When I was reading through this, I just kept seeing it referred to as the North Falmouth Elementary Playground, and I didn't see it. It's just the upper part right by the school.
just
It's not
one-
any of those lower parts.
No, it's just one playground.
Right,
but
it's not the
we call it
accessible
that.
one, it's the one under the trees.
It's back closest to the parking lot.
Does it have to be specified somewhere in the application which part of the playground? Or is it okay to just say North Falmouth Elementary Playground and leave it at that?
During the interview, they asked any clarifying questions that they
Okay, so
had.
it doesn't have to be written out.
It's okay.
All right.
Yeah, we want to.
I was gonna say, so as our two individuals that's on the building needs committee, they also walk the North Falmouth
Yeah.
playground.
That's awesome.
My second question was, has the school community there, or the kids, had any information about what the playground will look like? I'm just curious if they're,
They haven't taken steps.
yeah.
Yeah, it's too early.
I mean, like,
Sometimes-
you've got all these design drawings in here, and I'm just curious if the kids are like, if there are parts that they love about the existing one, and there's such strong
So like a
feelings about
community-
playgrounds,
Yes,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah, sure. And with the PTO.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I did visit both playgrounds, they both are in need of updating. It's always shocking how expensive these playgrounds are. Boy, the Teaticket one is really nice. But just to clarify here that, we send this to the Community Preservation Committee, they are gonna discuss it, they're gonna vote a recommendation for it. It also gets sent to the Finance Committee, the Finance Committee usually concurs with the CPC's recommendation, it goes to town meeting has to approve it. Usually though, if the CPC approves things, it usually passes town meeting, not always, but usually.
Unless it's a check.
You can always strengthen your application if somebody did want to raise some money in favor of the project, that would help. But, it's really up to the CPC, and they're gonna be weighing it against affordable housing, open space, historic preservation, that, goes into, there's a big pot, so there's no guarantee that we get this, and they could decide they wanna do, that we can only do one out of two.
Yeah.
And might even ask us, well, if we can only fund one, which one do you want?
Well, in general, I appreciate that this is a solution to prevent the problem that we already had, because that was horrible what happened when we were shut down with no notice and had already missed the funding deadlines for getting Teaticket replaced. So I'm just glad that we're planning before it happens.
I just also want to note, I think we said it before, but it all falls under DPW. And they now have a couple certified playgrounds, certified individuals on staff that are reviewing the playgrounds and keeping up on that. But those determinations happen at the town level. Funding, we have to come up with, but the actual care of the playgrounds and the actual determination if they're, shut down or not, happens at the town level.
Margaret?
We said that this would be done in 27, right?
Next one.
Okay, well, the estimates are for 26, so the estimate's gonna be good for 27?
It's gonna have to go out to bid.
I'm sorry?
It goes out to bid.
Okay,
These are
just one
these are
second.
estimates
Just to. Application.
Can I just, one quick, how old was the Teaticket playground? I saw North Falmouth was 26 years old, it said. So how old was the Teaticket? I was curious.
Do you know?
It was
Okay.
Thank you.
We have several across the district that
Yeah,
it's at that age.
yeah, it's amazing.
Some are still in better shape than others.
Okay, all in favor of approving the community preservation application, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? That's unanimous, thank you. Next up is acting on the minutes from June 23rd.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Is there a second? And were there any corrections? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Any opposed or abstentions? That's unanimous as well. Okay, committee reports. I'm gonna go first because I got a couple things. You already mentioned convocation, 8 a.m. next Monday. We usually sit down and to the left. Assuming it's probably the same.
Yep.
In case you want to join.
Sorry, Tuesday. Monday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, did you say Monday? I'm sorry,
Tuesday.
I heard
Tuesday.
Good catch, Brian,
Woo,
thank you.
Thank you. The next thing is that this Friday is the back to school bash. We've been invited to have a table for the school committee. Margaret and I did it last year. We just took our meeting schedules and a little sign that says, we're here, we're listening, and we just chatted with people. So if anyone is willing, it's from 4:30 to 6:30 at the rec. Any takers?
Which day?
On Friday, this Friday?
It's Friday, 4:30.
4:30 to
Can I get
6:30?
back to you?
Please.
Tentative,
Okay, Mike's a tentative.
school bash.
I could potentially.
Sorry, it's my twin's birthday, so.
You told the joke twice today and I've laughed twice.
I think I can get there.
Okay, so I will send out a quick email after the meeting today. You can do it? Okay, great. We've got one tentative, one taker, two tentatives and one taker. I will sign this up. And Margaret, if you can just grab a tablecloth and we'll get some copies of the meeting schedule so you can chat with folks. Thank you so much. I think it's nice to have, have a table and just talk with people. Evaluation subcommittee had another meeting and started the process for planning for the year. Sorry, I've got so many things on the list. Oh, that's it. Oh, no, legal. And we are working, Heather has been putting together a summary of all the different legal opinions that we've gotten. We're working on getting that out to everybody, so it'll have all the questions that people have asked and pasted in the text from legal with the answers. So still working on that.
Thank you, Heather.
And that was the last one. Any other committee member reports? Margaret?
Yeah, I was requesting information, so this information says about money spent. So for the open meeting law complaints for 2025-26, school year July 1st to June 30th, there were 9 open meeting complaints submitted by 3 individuals. Attorney Andy responded to 3 of the complaints. Total of 13.2 hours with a total cost of $3,696. Attorney Maura O'Keefe responded to 6 complaints, no record of hours or cost, conducted as her role as the town attorney. Attorney Mary Whalen Gantz supported information in 1 complaint tied to a district public records request, total 2.5 hours, total cost $375. Public records requests for the same time. There were 87 public records requests, 29% of them were from 1 person.
I'm sorry, could you say that part again?
There were 87 public records requests, 29% of them were from 1 individual. The attorney Mary Whalen Gantz supported responses for all 87 requests, total of 71.5 hours, and the total cost is $10,825.
All right, thank you, Secretary Souza. So hopefully we can stay on top of reporting for that, instead of doing it by the end of the year. Any other member requests?
That was
Sorry,
from-
Margaret, can you just repeat the Maura O'Keefe? She had 6 that she covered, and what was her total cost?
No cost, she works for the
No,
town,
that's right, no
so
cost.
there's no cost for her.
Thank you very much.
So the 9 and the 87 were since when?
When did the
What's the
period,
time
the
period
time
that
frame
you
start?
got?
From July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026.
Can I ask a question? So that's interesting information, Margaret, and that would be also interesting to know how many of those requests are related to the delay of producing minutes. Because that is something that is within our control and would help to curtail those
I'll follow up on that.
Thanks.
I have a request for future, are we?
Oh, were there any other
Oh, sorry.
committee reports? Okay.
Yeah. Next agenda, if we could include something on a report about the district transportation safety, that has been a request by parents. I forwarded the specific questions earlier today.
Anyone else on that topic?
On the gender request or on the?
On that, so we had said at our,
Oh, that you need two people.
Right.
Right, I'm interested in that also, because
Okay.
I've heard parents also.
thank you, and that's the last, before you jump onto the next topic, that is the last topic that I have on my list as an outstanding agenda item. Does anybody else have something that's hanging out there that I lost along the way?
I don't know right now.
Okay, if you do, like if we're missing one, because I started, like, I think it was in our agenda group, we talked about like having a master list that has all of the items that have been requested, so I've started that and started checking them all off, this is the last one. But if you have one that you've already asked for that hasn't gotten addressed yet, please follow up and let me know. Jane?
Glenn, could I just ask the context of what you're saying?
So parents have expressed interest in having more detailed information on district safety, like bus monitors. I forwarded the specific questions, there were a number of them.
GPS and cameras in there?
GPS, cameras, so just kind of an overall report on addressing those specific questions on what the status of bus safety is. Is the Lawrence Morse route a permanent situation, or is it a temporary situation? Things like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Katrina, do you have something?
We had just mentioned earlier, maybe we need to have an agenda item to talk about redrawing district attendance lines, since we didn't really ever finish that conversation last year. The thing that I hear most from parents is this prevailing feeling of unease with the amount of screen time related to education in the classroom. So I'm hoping, what I would like, and I don't know if this is an agenda item, or how to address it exactly. I've looked at litigation, not litigation, what's the word? No, at the state level, it's, people are trying, legislation, thank you, that people have been trying to enact for this purpose. And so I guess I'm interested if the school committee can find out how many parents actually feel that this is an issue and in what grades they feel it's an issue. Because I mostly hear about it in kindergarten through like 3rd grade.
Okay, so I think that's enough, I don't want to get into like
No,
too
no,
much
But
conversation
I don't
about
know,
it.
I guess I don't know what the agenda request is. Is it a survey? Is it, I don't know what the first step would be, but that's.
Okay, why don't we talk offline and we can try to hash out what that might be.
Is there somebody seconding that?
Yeah, that's what my question is. Does anybody else?
I
have
forgot
that?
what her first thing was, but I was.
I know,
on board
coming
for
back
that.
to it.
Sorry.
I'm coming
Sorry,
back
I
to
did
it.
too.
No, we're not going back yet. Is there a second on the screen time thing before we move back to the other
I'll
topic?
second the screen time, I'm sorry.
Okay, and then the other one was revisiting redrawn lines. Is there a second?
That's what I wanted to talk about. What Janie had asked earlier about the class sizes, can we tie that all into the redrawing of, the discussion of redrawing?
I think it would have to be all
Yes,
together.
thank you.
Yes, and then, oh, I had one more thing, I'm sorry.
Hold on, I need to know, are you seconding that request? We can't just,
Yeah,
is that a yes?
seconding,
Okay, thank you.
Katrina's thing.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I'm keeping track of all this. And you had something?
I just feel like it's, the redrawing of district lines are going to come out organically, and I don't think that we should do it yet. I think that we should wait for it to come out the way it's supposed to come out.
Point of order.
Yep.
We're not discussing
Right,
this,
we
we
can't.
got a second,
Okay.
it's on the agenda list, Kelly can decide when it's gonna be on our next meeting.
Fair enough. All right, any closing,
Oh, sorry.
Glenda,
So, just to clarify, at our retreat, we had talked about a process whereby if tonight at midnight, somebody decides that they want something on the agenda, that they could forward it to you, and that members of the committee would then be asked whether they were interested in seconding it to be on the agenda. And then, since then, the legal opinion was that that is not going to be allowed.
That's deliberation.
What I'm understanding is that the only way now that we can get something on the agenda is to ask for it at a meeting preceding the next meeting.
that was my understanding as
So
well.
that's the only way.
That was my understanding from Andy as well.
Well, except that at that meeting, one could put a motion in before we adopt the agenda and have us voting on it. So that is another way, but those are the only two ways.
Say that
Yes.
again?
How are they different?
Okay,
It's a procedural Robert's rules before the meeting starts. So,
Mike, did you have an agenda?
Just a quick-
That's what we're actually talking about.
Yes, agenda item, quick one. Can we find out how it is the school committee can send out surveys? I know that we've discussed that in the past, if we can submit surveys, or I feel like having more surveys out to the parents would help us make some decisions easier. That's an agenda item, but just throwing it out there.
Oh, right, surveys was a hanging one, actually. Surveys, and I understand grade configurations.
Okay.
But that was a hanging agenda item.
Thank
last
you.
year.
Margaret?
Just a clarification. No one can email you and ask for an agenda item, then you ask
Correct.
people to respond. But could someone send you an email and say, I'd be interested in you raising this at a next meeting as an agenda?
Oh, yes, I just cannot then solicit
No, I
opinions
know,
from other
I
people.
want to clarify that there is another way, that anyone could email you and say, I would like this as an agenda item, and you could bring it up at another meeting.
Yes.
yeah, I guess
Okay.
my
I'm only
scenario
clarifying.
was if the chair declines to put it on the agenda. So that's the thing.
So I'm gonna cut it there, and we can revisit, now that we have new legal guidance from Andy, we can come back to that group and figure out a new system if we need to, but I think we're not gonna kick it around anymore tonight, because,
Move to adjourn.
thank you.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Awesome, we're adjourned, thank you guys. Oh my gosh, 2 minutes